start over. So welcome. I want to welcome all of our volunteers to this training, and I want to thank you all for participating because this is truly a community-wide project and we wouldn't be able to do this without you guys present. So just some general notes before we get started. On election day, we do not want people going into their polling places unless it's their location to vote. If we are fine with you getting out of the car, taking pictures, that's okay. But we don't want people being told that they're interfering with the election process. So we want people to not go into the polling places unless it's, of course, it's your location to vote. We ask that surveys please be submitted online. This is helpful for us to collect data so that we can quickly react and ask for corrective action. Pictures are always good if possible. This lets us see specific issues at specific polling places. When you're voting, if you're voting in person and you see people that have visible disabilities voting, please take note of how they're being treated and spoken to. We've heard this issue happen quite a few times, and there's a notes section on the survey where you can tell us about that. Remember, please, to note the time that you've arrived at your polling place. This is important because if somebody arrives at that polling place and does a survey at 10 a.m. and they let us know there's an issue, on election day, we have folks in our office who are going to be reaching out to registrar's offices. So if I'm in Norfolk and report that there's an issue at a specific site at 10 a.m. and we make an effort to correct that issue at noon, if there's still an issue at that polling, excuse me? Okay, at noon, if there's still an issue at that polling place, we want to make sure that we know what time people are arriving. So the first thing that we're going to be asking for is if you see curbside voting. The directions and the code on curbside voting is pretty vague, but it does say that there should be clear directions on how to vote curbside. Sometimes that's a phone number, like on this second sign here. Sometimes it's somebody waiting outside or two people waiting outside, and that's fine. But we just need to have clear directions on how to curbside vote. Unacceptable answers including could include honking. There was somebody who wanted somebody to honk and they honked for like 10 minutes and nobody came out. Or ring the bell for assistance when the bell is at the door. That defeats the purpose of curbside voting. So when you are voting curbside, they should be coming out with an envelope or something to put your ballot in. So if you're seeing people voting curbside, just take note of it. Take a picture of the sign if you can. Is there accessible parking? And is it closest to the door? So it's helpful to know what language is on those signs. If you can't get a clear picture, that's fine. But are those signs closest to the door? And is there anything blocking the accessible parking spot? For example, I went to survey locations in Charlottesville 2 years ago, and there was a bus parked across 3 accessible parking spots. So that was just something that I was able to take a picture of and note. So was there a smooth, clear path of travel from the parking lot to the door? We don't want trees in the path. We don't want poles in the path. We want to make sure that people can get to their polling place from their car to the polling place without encountering obstacles. The 2 pictures below are a pole in the middle of a curb cut so that a person can't get around it, and also a curb cut that looks decent, but it cuts into grass, which makes it really difficult to get onto the curb. So this is the last one, the last question we have, and it can be a little confusing. So can the door be opened with a closed fist? that there are certain like push bars or handles that can be opened with a closed fist. We just want to make sure that it's not like a doorknob that you have to turn. If the door is being held open with a doorstop, that's great. That's totally fine. There does not have to be an accessible button. That's not required. So Beth, you want to come around? So now Beth is going to come around and she's going to actually walk us through the survey and how to get to the survey.
Hello. So when you go to our website, which is dLCV.org. Stop the share?
Yeah, stop share and reshare the website.
Okay, so what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to go all the way back. www.dlcv.org. And that's the front page of our website. Can you go to the mouse? I'm a mouse girl, so I had Rachel pass me the mouse. And on the very front page, it says complete our survey. Oh, that's the tech. Oh, ignore me. There we go. Under voting rights. Right here, it's just going to ask for your your name, the date that you voted.
Can include early voting.
Which, if in case you didn't hear that, Rachel says can include early voting. We want to know the time of your vote. And the reason we do that, like Rachel talked about earlier, if we find out about something at 10 o'clock, we want to see, is it still a problem at 3:30? The location of your precinct and the county/city. And then these are the questions that we just talked about. Do you see a curbside voting or a sign for it? Are the accessible parking spaces closest to the door? Was there a smooth, clear path of travel from the parking lot to the front door? Can the door be opened with a closed fist? And then additional comments and a place to upload pictures. And then submit. That's it. It's super easy. And so we want you to do this online. If you're in the outlying areas and you're having Wi-Fi, internet access issues, you can put it in a, when you get back into an area where you do have Wi-Fi. But that's really simple. That's what it is. Okay, hold on just one more second. Okay, just one more moment and Rachel's going to come back.
So that is it, and it's pretty simple. I'm glad to answer any questions now, or if you guys think of questions and want to contact me afterwards, you're welcome to do that as well. So you're welcome to come off mute and ask any questions you have.
Hi, this is Vicki. I have a question.
Hi, Vicki.
How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Good. When do we get the listing of locations that we will be checking?
So Yusuf and I are working on that together.
Okay.
We will both be getting in touch with you about that. Even if we have a staff member already working that county, we're going to try to split up voting locations so that, like I'm doing Henrico, other people can also do some in Henrico.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions?
I can't think of any right now. She just asked my
Okay.
question.
Yeah, and if you do have questions, please just, if you want to reach out to Yusuf, he can help you guys connect to me.
Okay.
But we really want to thank you for your help. This project is something we do every single year. On election day, I didn't cover this part. On election day, we will have people in the office, but most of us will be out in the field, just like you guys, going to polling sites throughout the city or throughout the state. I'll be in Henrico, Beth will be in Accomack, and we've got folks in Northern Virginia, we've got folks in Tidewater, we've got folks in Southwest, we've got folks traveling throughout the entire state just to see how accessible this process is. And this is not a one-time thing. This is something we do every single election. So if it's something you're interested in and like doing, let us know and we can definitely keep you involved.
It's just a thing where it's very eye-opening.
Absolutely.
See, like just the opening the door with the closed fist, it made me instantly think of this one lady I knew who, again, she can't move her hands. They're stuck basically. And that's how she has to use her arm to open the door. Like,
Right.
And they don't think of that stuff when they're going into the, we got to vote for a president, type thing. And it's just so simple
And that's just closed fist, just like I was just doing on the floor.
And it's common courtesy if you realize these issues.
And the conduct of some of the polling workers is also something interesting to look at. I had a time when I took a friend to vote last year who's an amputee. He voted for his first time last year. He had just gotten rights restored, waited in line for an hour because he wanted to vote in person. He did not want to vote curbside. As soon as we got to the door, the polling worker came to me and told me that it was my turn, even though he was in front of me, and said, "Oh, we just assumed you were going to help him vote." And I said, "No, that's he doesn't need help voting." And they said, "Well, we didn't know if he could stand to vote." And I said, "He's been standing for an hour. He'll be fine. Just let him vote." So that's kind of the conduct and the way to interact with folks that we're looking for to make sure that people were still being treated respectfully.
Yeah, exactly.
And with that, sorry, I had just said one
ahead.
question also.
Absolutely.
When we fill out the form, is there
Uh-huh.
somebody that can like answer if there is any issue or something that can solve it like pretty much immediately? Or
So we will have folks in the office that day. We have 2 people who stay in the office every year who will kind of be answering calls that day. But I will also be I'll be close by so that if it's something I need to address quickly, I can do that as well. But if it can't be addressed that day, we will be using these survey results to write corrective action letters to registrar's offices and saying, hey, this is something necessary. And we have seen the results of this. Arlington this year is not redistricting, but they're making their polling places different in different locations. And part of the reason for that is lack of accessibility, that the old polling places weren't accessible. So we will be asking for corrective action. We will be writing to registrars, calling registrars, trying to get these issues fixed. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Once again, I really want to thank you guys for your support in this project. It's a huge project and it's fun. It's something that we have fun with every year. But if you have questions, please don't hesitate to contact Yusuf and he'll get you in touch with me.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
I'm just waiting on to check and make sure all her questions. And thank you for coordinating this, Yusuf. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll make sure this gets to the people who couldn't make it today.
Yes, and I restarted. I thought that they had told it to record, but I recorded it, so it should
Yeah,
be.
no, I usually remember.
Yep.
I try to
okay.
keep an ear out for like the recording started.
Yeah.
Or so
Great. Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Mark. Bye, Mark.